This is the exchange rate chart for the Indian rupee and the US dollar for the past 3 decades. As you can see, the INR has been falling, but this might change soon. The Indian government has been trying to make the INR a global premium currency. Let's see what does it mean and is it even possible. A premium status for any currency is to be considered a global reserve currency, to be used in cross-border transactions and to be held as a forex reserve in the central banks like RBI. Historically, the currencies of economic superpowers are generally accepted as the global reserve currencies. And as their power fades, the currency also loses its prime status. And that's exactly what happened when the British pound was replaced by the US dollar after Britain lost its superpower status in the early 20th century. Currency rates fluctuate due to their supply and demand in the global market. So before moving ahead, let's just go through a simple supply and demand principle. Simply, if the supply increases and there is no change in the demand, the product's value will decrease as there is too much product in the market. On the other side, if the supply is low and the demand increases, then the product's value will increase because the product is scarcely available. This simple logic defines the value of any currency. Dollar, euro and yen, these are in high demand and hence are considered as reserve currencies. Whereas currencies like rupee, real and ruble, they are in low demand and are not considered a valuable currency. These high valued currencies do get some unfair advantage due to this principle of supply and demand. Suppose I am USA and I have a factory that prints these dollars. Now I know the rest of the world needs dollars to buy oil and all the other goods, increasing my dollars demand. Now I can control the supply of dollar and therefore control the value of this dollar. For example, if the global trade is low and the dollar is in less demand, I won't print more money. On the other side, when the demand increases, I will have the choice to cautiously print more money as it suits me. I can also fix my economic problems, my internal domestic problems, or paying external debts by simply printing more money. You might think every country should do that, but they can't, especially not without caution. If suppose Pakistan starts printing more of its money, it will have a counter effect. Its value will decrease because the supply of money will increase, but there is no demand. Nobody wants Pakistan's currency. There is one another reason for the high demand of dollar, that is trust in USA. But we will come back to it at the end of the video. Now, since USA, not only prints the dollar, but the international transactions happening in dollar are also done through my banks only. Therefore, I can also oversee and control these transactions and can put sanctions on countries who can or cannot use dollar. We all know US is known to do that against countries that don't follow its rule-based world order principle. Countries like China and Russia are calling it weaponization of dollar, and they are making efforts to protect themselves against such sanctions. Their combined effort is being called as de-dollarization. India is taking this de-dollarization as an opportunity to promote the Indian rupee in a global stage. Look, understand, increased international use of rupee will reduce the demand for foreign currency and the dependence on forex reserve. This reduced dependence on foreign reserve will thereby reduce India's vulnerability to foreign shock and will make rupee stronger. Vostro account mechanism is a good first step in building the infrastructure for a strong rupee. As you probably know, a Vostro account is basically a foreign bank's account in an Indian bank holding the Indian currency rupee. Foreign clients trading with India can easily settle their transactions in rupees using these Vostro accounts. But to be a global currency, INR must become much stronger for others to hold it as their central reserve and trade in it with the rest of the world. Otherwise, this mechanism will be limited only to the sanctioned countries under stress. The money will also be either trapped in those accounts or will be moved to some other currency for further use. And that's exactly what's happening with Russia. After sanctions on Russia on using dollar and a global lack of trust in Russian ruble, the only option left for Russia was to use a currency of a third country. Under the Rupee-Rouble trade agreement, Russia accepted to settle its trade in rupees instead of dollar and euro. But now, as a result of increased one-way trade of cheap Russian oil, Russia is ending up with excess rupees, which the Russian companies can't even take back home for further use. It's unacceptable to Russia, but since India is one of the largest importers of oil, the Russian exporters will probably have to accept settlements in rupees and figure out what to do with that money separately. India, being on a stronger position in this case, is trying to utilize this challenge by suggesting some new solutions which will benefit its own interests as well. The Indian government is proposing that the trapped money can be reinvested in the emerging Indian economy through government bonds, Indian capital market, or through infrastructure projects. You must know, just like India, the US economy also runs in trade deficit, importing more products than exporting and sending more dollars out of US. But interestingly, due to the strong US economy, these excess dollars that the rest of the world accumulates often gets reinvested in the US assets like debt securities issued by the government. These solutions can benefit India in short terms, but for the ambitious global currency, the Indian government must work towards making INR a fully convertible currency. Many currencies have tried to join the global reserve currencies and get accepted by the world. But a major reason why US dollar still dominates is because of the trust in the US financial system and the rule of law being followed in USA. Since the US corporations and the financial market are still running the world, dollar is not going anywhere anytime soon. What INR must do is to build similar trust to get the elite global currency status. INR must stand bold and strong in the new emerging diversified currency market.